Yep.
In standing to speak to this bill, I guess it's one of those situations we've got more questions than answers, and look forward to what it is that comes out of the Select Committee. The first question that we have is, what is this problem this particular bill solving or resolving? And is it going to help address the energy security issue that we have in Aotearoa? Is it going to address significantly the energy inequity issue that we have in Aotearoa? Is there benefit for Aotearoa, for our businesses, for our partnerships, as Te Tiriti, as claims and states? Or are we going to be once again in offshore companies that are going to be helping to craft this bill? It's going to be designed to suit them more than anyone else. Energy will be exported, the prices exported and controlled offshore. So I guess the question as we were caucusing this is, what is it changing? And the other part of it is it addressing the climate issues? Will it lower emissions? Is it going to put us forward truly in using the full sense of the word renewable, noting that turbines last approximately 15 to 17 years offshore? And that when they are devolved, that it becomes effectively an urupa of turbines in our ocean. And respecting that, we did see the decommissioning clause. We live in Taranaki with the decommissioning and have effectively seen its failings, and as taxpayers had to pay for millions of dollars for the clean-up of those failings. So is this bill also going to look at business? And I think the bill's made it really clear that it is going to be investor-led, investor-focused. So that being the case, then how do we make sure that those investors are our own? How do we make sure, unlike what we saw in the nationalisation of all the minerals, the Crown Minerals Act, that it's been really difficult for Māori, for even New Zealand companies to be able to become part of the oil and mineral sector? And I say that conservatively because if we are going to go down this path, we first and foremost must look and think about our own nationhood. And our own nationhood has a history, pre-nationalisation, and the recognition of tangata whenua's rights, and the recognition, as Y Claims 796 and 852 spoke about. And if we go back to looking at some of the things that I think Margaret Wilson made a statement in 2000 that the government's reaffirmed policy that Crown Minerals, including petroleum, are owned and managed in national interest, will not be included in a lot of the Taranaki settlement claims. She did make a commitment, though, that the government will explore ways to address the Crown's contemporary obligations to Māori under the treaty with regard to natural resources. Now, this is an opportunity for the nationhood and the well-being of Aotearoa to be discussed and realised with those Taranaki iwi that had to forego the historical grievances in the Crown mineral space, and how that would indeed be put into effect in a way that is best for all of Aotearoa. And I would welcome hearing some of this, again, as I said, in the Select Committee stage. Are we looking to transition and do something radically different in the energy space for the betterment of all in New Zealand? Or are we going to open up for the corporate entities that have come in the name of renewable energy, who will then take everything offshore and make it just as expensive for our businesses, for our communities and our families to be able to live in Aotearoa? And these are some of the questions that with all honesty, we haven't landed with the answers in this bill, because unfortunately we do have a cynical view of some of the way that this government has taken energy and big corporate bias. And so we've seen the fast track today, third reading, we've seen the RMA first reading, we've seen this particular bill's first reading, and nowhere are we seeing a different approach where in fact there is an opening up of what could be the protection of Māori, iwi, hapu investments with this government, and for the protection of all citizens of Aotearoa to be able to afford to have good, sustainable energy options. So those are some of the questions that we have that we look forward to the next phase of this bill. Kia ora.
Well, that raises some good points there that Debbie did bring up about the decommissioning of the Tui oil field that did not properly happen.
Yeah, she asks a lot of great questions, and I don't have any answers for her.
Yeah,
Thankfully, I don't have to come up with the answers. That's National's job. But Now, I can answer one of her questions, and she'd probably say to me, "Thanks, Captain Obvious." But one of the key functions of the bill is to create decommissioning and financial security obligations to ensure the decommissioning of offshore renewable energy infrastructure occurs at the expense of the permit holders and owners of related transmission infrastructure. So there you go. So at least we've got that now in legislation. But yeah, the Tui oil field decommissioning project, that was fucked, man.
The big thing that could be something that could be part of the permit holder is to actually put a proportion of the decommissioning costs to the state in trust. So when decommissioning happens, the funds can be released. If there is a change in ownership of the permit holder, the permit, it's not like you've sold your permit off to someone and then you've left them with the bill to sit there and do the cleanup, that sort of thing there. So maybe that's where the decommission costs could be put, say, into trust. And so that at least at the end of it, there is funds there. I mean, one thing I hate is privatise the gain, socialise the losses, or socialise the negative consequences, and that should hopefully reduce some of that from actually happening.
A big old bond. I like that.
Exactly, bond. Or you can actually have it where it's like, a requirement each year is to pay money into, say, that bond as part of the operating costs. I don't agree with having that cost at the start of the project, but could be part of the requirement to have that permit is to pay that ongoing cost into a bond for decommissioning at the end, and have that where it actually where you can change things in there. I can sit there and do it. And I noticed there's some very comments going about Laura, was it McClure?
Not me.
Laura Trust's name. There's a lot of people sitting there going through there. I can tell you one politician who was very honest about it. Her name was called Feta-Turkatney. And then when she got married, she chucked Dennis's last name Sullivan on the end. And then everyone knew who is Feta-Turkatney Sullivan. But maybe, it does feel a bit like Laura who?
Yeah.
And to be honest, I looked 2 weeks ago on the Social Services Select Committee. It was Trask on them. So she's only just told Parliament that she would like to go by her married name.
Yeah, I mean, personally, here's my opinion on it. I don't really care.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
It's like, okay, is it going to impact the country? No, so I don't really care.
But it's interesting to mention the part is it's about being honest.
Yeah.
It's an honesty thing or something like that. It's actually quite intriguing on that basis. But then, to be honest, I've always been professionally known as Sam Summers. I've never been known as my legal name as Samuel Summers.
Yeah.
So, and I'll probably say the same as with Sam Uffendale.
Yeah, it's just like, I've got bigger things to worry about than someone's last.